Good morning, dear students. Once again, welcome back to the English literature class. Here we are continuing with the play. Title of the play is The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. Act 2nd, Scene 8, lines 1 to 55. Before we move to the story, let's have an introduction to what we are going to study. In this scene, Shylock discovers the elopement of his daughter with a Christian and her theft of gold and jewels while fleeing. So this particular incident is connected to one another scene which we have already studied. Act 2nd, Scene 6. In that scene, we have seen the elopement of Jessica and Lorenzo. So Shylock's daughter, her name is Jessica, with a Christian. What's the name of that Christian who's the lover of Jessica? Lorenzo. So Shylock comes to know about the elopement of Jessica and Lorenzo along with his wealth, gold and jewels. This intensifies his hatred for Christians and his desire for revenge. Okay, so he was already hating Christians. Now, what had happened? Since his daughter eloped with a Christian, this particular hatred towards or for Christians has got increased, and his desire for revenge it has increased. Celerino and Zelanio talk about a shipwreck and hope that it is not Antonio's. So these people are having a conversation, and there one of these persons he says that he came to know about a shipwreck, and they hope that it is not Antonio's. The scene further highlights Antonio's love for Bassanio as he bids farewell to him with tearful eyes. It is again further speaking about the close relationship between Bassanio and Antonio. That's why when Bassanio was bidding farewell to Antonio, there were tears in the eyes of Antonio. So it shows how much deep relationship they are having, how much deep friendship they are having. So these are the different points which we are going to discuss in this particular scene. Now let's move to the class. Act 2nd, Scene 8, lines 1 to 55. Venice, a street. So this particular scene is taking place at a street of Venice. Enter Celerino and Zelanio. So these are the two different characters of this particular scene. So this entire scene is made something like a conversation between Celerino and Zelanio. Only these two characters are being appeared in this particular scene. Celerino. Why, man, I saw Bassanio under sail. With him is Graciano gone along. So, dear friend, so he is addressing to his friend Salanio. Salarino says, my dear friend Salanio, I saw Bassanio under sail. I have witnessed the beginning of Bassanio's journey. He just parted from the port a few minutes, a few hours maybe before. With him is Graciano gone along. So with him, only one person accompanied, that was his servant Graciano. So Graciano and Bassanio were the people who departed from the port sometimes before. And in their ship, I'm sure Lorenzo is not. And I'm very sure that in their ship by which Bassanio and Graciano started their journey, in their ship, I'm very sure that Lorenzo was not there. Lorenzo means Lorenzo and Jessica were not there with Bassanio and Graciano. Now, the exchange is Salanio's. Salanio says, the villain Jew with outcries raised the Duke, who went with him to search Bassanio's ship. So the villain Jew, who is the villain Jew? Shylock. Shylock urged the Duke. He just disturbed the Duke by complaining about the act of Lorenzo and Jessica. So he just disturbed the Duke by his complaints and urged him to go and search Bassanio's ship. Who went with him? Who went with him? The Duke went with him to search Bassanio's ship. Salarino. He came too late. The ship was under sail. So by the time when he reached at the port in order to search the ship was not there because it was already under sail. It has already started its journey. Then how it's possible to check the ship? But there the Duke was given to understand that in a gondola were seen together Lorenzo and his amorous Jessica. So the Shylock told to the Duke that on a particular type of boat. So gondola means it's a kind of boat. Its bottom is flat in shape. Okay, its bottom is flat. So he made the Duke believe that Lorenzo and Jessica were traveling with Bassanio, or in other words, Bassanio helped Lorenzo and Jessica to escape from Venice. Besides, Antonio certified the Duke they were not with Bassanio in his ship. But besides, at the same time, Antonio certified the Duke. So Antonio was trying to make the Duke understand that they were not with Bassanio in his ship. In his ship, or in the ship by which Bassanio was traveling. And Antonio told that it's very sure that Jessica and Lorenzo were not there in the same ship by which Bassanio was traveling. Salanio. I never heard a person so confused, so strange, outrageous, and so variable. Here, Salanio says, I have never seen a person with such a huge quantity of anger, such a huge anger. He was outburst of anger. Okay, I have never seen such a person with that much anger, so confused. So that I have seen number of people in my life, but I have never seen a person with this much anger. It was strange. His behavior was it was very strange, and it was excessive and frequently changing in nature. So he was very angry against Christians, especially he was against Antonio and Bassanio, and it was so strange, outrageous, and variable. As the dog Jew did utter in the streets. So when Salanio found this Jew, the Jew was uttering something and moving in the streets. So here there is a word used, that is dog. Here its meaning is not the literal meaning of the word dog. Dog here used as morally low, or in other words we can say that wicked. So the wicked Jew did utter in the streets. So once when he came to know about the elopement of his daughter with his wealth, he lost his control. So confused, in such a confused way he was behaving. He was strange, excessive, and frequently changing as the wicked Jew shouted on the streets. And what he was shouting? My daughter, oh my ducats, oh my daughter, fled with a Christian, oh my Christian ducats, justice, the law, my ducats, and my daughter. A sealed bag, two sealed bags of ducats, of double ducats stolen from me by my daughter. And jewels, two stones, two rich and precious stones, stolen by my daughter. Justice, find the girl. She has the stones upon her and the ducats. So see, once when we go through these sentences, we won't get a connection between one word to another. See, my daughter, all my ducats, all my daughter, fled with a Christian. O my Christian decades, justice, the law, my decades and my daughter. A sealed bag, two sealed bags of decades, of double decades, stolen from me by my daughter, and jewels, two stones, two rich and precious stones, stolen by my daughter. Justice, find the girl, she had the stones upon her and the decades. So that's why by hearing these kinds of uttering words, Salanio says it was so confused. His nature was really flexible, it was variable. So here what he says, he is uttering these kinds of words and walking through the streets because he lost everything. He lost his wealth, the precious jewels, the stones, the decades, the coins, the money, everything has taken away by his daughter. So that's why he says, taken away, my daughter, oh my decades. He worries about his money. Again, oh my daughter, fled with a Christian. Oh my Christian decades, since the money has taken by Jessica according to the interest of Lorenzo. Lorenzo is a Christian. That's why he says that, oh my Christian decades, justice, the law, my decades and my daughter. A sealed bag, two sealed bags of decades. So one bag, two bags of decades, lot of monies of double decades. So double decades means there was a system in Venice that certain coins were having two values, double of the other. So it was a particular kind of coins. Okay, of double decades stolen from me by my daughter, and jewels, two stones, two rich and precious stones. So two jewels she has stolen from me. One is a diamond, the other one is a precious stone which has gifted by my daughter. So that's why he is saying that two stones, two rich and precious stones stolen by my daughter. Justice, find the girl. She had the stones upon her. She has taken all my wealth. She is having the stones upon her and the decades. So she is having all my decades, my coins, my jewels, my diamonds and everything she has taken away, and right now it is with her. Celerino. Why all the boys in Venice follow him, crying his stones, his daughter, and his decades? There, Celerino is asking, well, all the boys in Venice follow him, crying about his diamonds, decades, and his daughter. Because sometimes in movies or somewhere you might have seen, if some people they lose their control, they'll be walking through a street, and in order to disturb them, some people, especially some children, they will be following him by repeating the words what they have uttered. So same way, when Shylock is walking through the street by uttering some words related to his wealth, to his daughter, there were some boys who were following him by repeating the same words what is told by Shylock. So that's why Salarino says, so that's why I came to know that all the boys in Venice follow him by crying his stones, his daughter, and his decades. Salanio. Let good Antonio look he keep his day, or he shall pay for this. So Salanio says, let Antonio make his payment on the exact date without making it due. Because if he fail in paying that money on time, he has to pay for everything, including he'll be getting punishment, something like he'll be getting punishment from Shylock, even for the elopement of his daughter. He'll punish Antonio for that, because we have already seen it has increased the hatred towards Christians. So that's why he may have to pay for that. Let Antonio make his payment on the day that the bond is due. Otherwise, he may have to pay for the default. He has to suffer. He has to pay by some means. So that's why Salanio says, let him do it on time. Salarino. Mary, well remembered. I reasoned with a Frenchman yesterday. So, in the name of Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus, well remembered. So, I am remembering. So, in the name of Virgin Mary, I remember. I reasoned with a Frenchman yesterday. I spoke with a Frenchman yesterday who told me in the narrow seas that part the French and English there miscarried a vessel of our country richly fraught. Okay, so yesterday I was talking with a Frenchman. I had a conversation with a Frenchman who told me something. In the narrow seas that part the French and English. So, in the narrow sea canal between England and French, there miscarried a vessel of our country richly fought. There, there was a ship which wrecked at that particular place, which was carrying richly fraught. Richly fraught means rich cargoes. Okay, a ship wrecked in the narrow canal route between French and English yesterday, which was having a lot of rich cargoes. I thought upon Antonio when he told me and wished in silence that it was not his. So by the time when that Frenchman was talking with me, he was telling me about the shipwreck. By the time in my mind there came the face of Antonio. I thought upon Antonio when he told me and wished in silence that it were not his. So by the time I was praying in my heart that, my God, it must not be Antonio's. That what was the thought in my mind when I heard about the shipwreck. Salanio, you were best to tell Antonio what you hear. Yet do not suddenly, for it may grave him. So here Salanio says, it's better that you tell Antonio about what you hear, what you have already heard. You tell about it to Antonio. Yet do not suddenly, but don't tell it in a sudden manner. Do not tell him at once. Okay, don't tell everything together. Don't tell everything together. He may get hurt by it, for it may grave him, it will make him sad. So don't say everything together. You take time and convince him and tell the matter very slowly, otherwise, it may make him sad. Salarino, a kind of gentleman treads not the earth. I saw Bassanio and Antonio part. On this earth, I cannot see a gentleman like Antonio. A kind of gentleman treads not the earth. I cannot see a generous person more than Antonio on this earth. In other words, there is no other gentleman is there on this earth who is more kinder than Antonio. I saw Bassanio and Antonio part. I have seen the departure of Bassanio, how they bid farewell. I have seen it. So that's why Salarino says, I cannot see one another person on this earth who is very gentle and kind like Antonio. Bassanio told him he would make some speed of his return. So, by seeing the feeling of Antonio, by seeing the pain of Antonio, Bassanio told to Antonio he would make some speed of his return. So, he will be trying to come back to Venice as fast as possible, as early as possible. He will be coming back to Venice. But once Bassanio told that he will be coming back very soon, he answered, do not so. So Antonio told, don't do it. Please don't do it. Antonio told, do not come back in such a hurry. So Bassanio told, I'll be back to Venice as early as possible. By the time Antonio told, do not come back in such a hurry. And again he continued, Slumber not business for my sake, Busanio. So, Busanio, please don't rush through a plan for my sake. Slumber means to rush through. Do not rush through. Okay. So please don't rush through the plan for my sake, Busanio. So this is what Antonio told. And again he continued, but stay the very reaping of the time, and for the Jews' bond which he hath of me, let it not enter in your mind of love. So don't do everything in a hurry, but stay the very reaping of the time. But stay till the time you attain your objective. Actually, Busanio is traveling to Belmont with a purpose, with a definite purpose. He is traveling. So that's why Antonio says, you just stay till the time you attain your objective, till you get your objective on what you are interested right now. So stay the very reaping of the time. And for the Jews bond which he hath of me. So about the Jews bond, and Antonio is reminding Bassanio. So actually Antonio has taken 3000 ducats from the Jew. So and for the Jews bond which he hath of me, which he has given to me, let it not enter in your mind of love. Let it not distract you from your display of love. Actually, Bosani is going to Belmont in order to display his love towards Portia, in order to convey, in order to propose Portia to marry her. So, let it not enter in your mind of love. Let it should not distract you from displaying your love. Be merry, and employ your chiefest thoughts to courtship and such fair abstinence of love as shall conveniently become you there. Be merry means be cheerful, be happy, and let your mind be devoted entirely to your love. So actually you are going to marry Portia. There you need to display your love and employ your chiefest thoughts to courtship and such fair abstinence of love. So you fully get engaged with the particular objective in which you are interested right now. Or in other words, you are going to Belmont in order to marry Portia. There you need to display your love. And please, there must be only one thing in your mind, that how can you convince Portia and marry her? I shall conveniently become you there in the most suitable manner. So how much you can convince Portia? So it will be depend on that. Portia will be ready to marry you. So there must be nothing in your mind. Nothing in the world must disturb your mind. Nothing about the Jews bond or about me, or nothing must disturb you. But in your mind there must be only one thing, and that's about how can you display your love in front of Portia and can marry her in the most suitable manner. And even there, his eye being big with tears, turning his face, he put his hand behind him, and with affection when it was sensible, he wrung Bassanio's hand, and so they parted. So after saying this, the state of Antonio was so pathetic. What had happened? His eyes filled with tears, and even there, his eyes being big with tears, his eyes were moisture with tears. Turning his face, he put his hand behind him. So Antonio was not able to face Busanio. So that's why he just turned his face from Bassanio. He put his hand behind him. he just shaken the hand of Bassanio from behind, and with affection, when he was sensible, he hung Bassanio's hand, so they parted. With affection, wondrous sensible. With affection, wonderfully tender. Means he was having that much feeling towards Bassanio. He hung Bassanio's hand. He just um, grabbed Bassanio's hand, something like in the form of shaking the hand, and so they parted. So with this, they have parted, which means Bassanio sat in the ship and he started his journey. Antonio went back to his business. Salanio. I think he only loves the world for him. Salanio says, I think Antonio live on this earth for him. For him means for Bassanio. I think he only loves the world for him. I think Antonio loves to live on this earth just because he's having such a deep friendship with Bassanio. I pray thee, let us go and find him out, and quicken his embraced heaviness with some delight or other. Salanio again says, I pray thee, so I request you, let's go and find him out. Let's go and find out where Antonia is, and quicken his embraced heaviness. He is already in a sad mood because of the departure of Bassanio. So let us go to him to raise his low spirits. So let's go to him and help him to get rid of his sadness with some amusements or with some entertaining programs. Diligent means amusement or some kind of entertaining programs. Celerino. Do we so? Okay, yes, let's do so. Let's do it what you have told right now. Let's go and find him and make him happy by some kinds of act. So with this, both of those people are exiting from the scene. Exeunt, they go out from the scene. So dear students, this is what act second scene 8 says about, and I hope you are very clear with this particular scene. And in the next class we will continue with act second scene 9. Still we will meet in the next class with the upcoming part of this play. I would like to sign off. Thank you.